Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So, welcome back to some of you guys. I know many probably have been traveling or doing whatever nice things towards the end of the year. So, welcome back. A new week is about to begin, and that is why I want to focus on Bitcoin. What's next for Bitcoin? We are now officially in 2022, and there's so many people feeling so bearish as of late. So I'm going to encourage you guys to stay strong and to be in the game and talk about what's next for Bitcoin. So let's get started. As always, smash up the like, subscribe to the channel. 2 streams almost every day, 11:30 and 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. So make sure you hit that notification bell and follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and check out all the latest news, article, and guides at CryptosRUs.com. Welcome back for many of you guys. I know you're probably on vacation. I took a vacation a week prior, but many of you guys are coming back to goodness for the last 2 days. Bitcoin and crypto has been pretty strong. We have seen some pretty good movement, not explosive movement, but movement nevertheless in the right direction, right? But there's a lot more to come. So today, if you look at Bitcoin, right around 47.4, and you look at overall market, it's not doing too shabby. You can see most things are in the green today, right? A lot of the L1s I've been talking about have been going up. Ethereum is starting to climb again, and look at the Polkadot today, up nearly 10%. A lot of these L1s just stair-stepping, slowly but surely. Yesterday inside Discord, some people mentioned about having too many L1s. At this point, I don't think you can have too many L1s. The L1s, the network protocols, there are so many out there, but there's so much dApps and developers and community on top of them utilizing them. So they're all in the right direction. I think 2021 has to be the year of the L1s. 2022 will probably be the same, if not better. So I don't think you have too many L1s at this point. And many of them are doing very well today, and many have done pretty well yesterday. And you can see Chainlink is also up pretty substantial today. This is good stuff. Good stuff overall. But let's jump into Bitcoin. What's going on with Bitcoin? What's next for Bitcoin? You guys know me. I got some good stuff about Bitcoin. Let's start with Plan B. So Plan B, playing a lot of defense recently. He gathered a whole bunch of followers thinking that, he's the next crypto oracle or Bitcoin oracle because he was right so many times with his floor model and stock to flow. He's playing a little defense these days. So number one, he says his floor model has failed, so he's never going to use it again. Okay. But two, stock to flow has not been invalidated. It's at a critical point, but still not invalidated. And according to Plan B, still useful and is the most useful in critical situations, right? So stock to flow, I think it's going to be very, very, very hard to be invalidated. So this is stock to flow right here. And you can see the bands, away from where it should be. And there's many periods before where you could see on the upside where stock to flow broke through the upper bands. But just because it did doesn't mean that it became invalidated. Even in 2017, right? It was close to breaking that upper band, right? So right now we're kind of hovering in the middle, a little bit lower than where we should be, but still we're nowhere close of invalidating stock to flow. And this is something that's over a long period of time, right? Since the beginning, 2010 to now, and it'll keep going. At some point, eventually it'll be outdated, but right now it's not. I just feel like there's too many people jumping on Plan B and being so negative. He's like everyone else, right? No analyst is perfect 100% of the time. You could be right 99% of the time, and if you actually fail that 1%, it seems like everyone has just forgotten about that 99% prior, right? That's how it seems. But I still believe in stock to flow. I still believe that this is a good model in terms of projecting where Bitcoin will be going in the future. So let's start with that. Stock to flow, Still on track in a critical point, but still on track. All right, so with that said, let's move on to some other things that are pretty positive. Well, here's one about RSI, momentum, and Bitcoin overall, and about breaking above the trend lines and now utilizing that trend lines as supports. So pretty positive. Usually if you're a TA guy and you look at something like this, usually means it's a reversal and already happened and there's more goodness to come. So want to lead off with that. There's also a few other things that's pretty positive. On-chain metrics like Nupal, which measures net unrealized profits versus loss. And you could see that orange line down below. Usually when things even out like that, that means a pretty good reversal is right around the corner. And that is exactly where we are. The difference is, you can see on the right side, that we've been hovering and hitting this line many, many, many times over the last month. Kind of like fear index, the more you stay at a certain point, the more likely it's going to bounce from there. So we could be at that critical junction where Bitcoin does start heading up, forming that new leg, and we'll forget all about December of 2021. All right, what else is there? Here's another ratio, the HODL ratio, which also indicates that we are due for a bounce. But what's more important is the ratio is showing that we are at the same level as when Bitcoin was back at 30,000. So obviously we're much higher than Bitcoin being at 30,000, yet we are the same R HODL ratio. And what does this mean? It means it's good. It's very, very, very good, right? A lot of metrics have been showing this, that we are nearing the same levels as Bitcoin in the 30s, and we stayed at 30s for quite some time. But guess what happened? We had an explosive run up afterwards, after Bitcoin was ready to move, right? And we've been here for a little bit too. We've been hovering this 47 mark for Bitcoin for a little bit. So again, indicator of what may be coming. Good stuff, good stuff. Now, other good stuff that's not related to TA or on-chain metrics. Look at President Bukele, 2022 predictions. Bitcoin will reach 100,000. 2 more countries will adopt it as legal tender. Will become a major electoral issue in the U.S. elections this year. Interesting. That third one I haven't heard of. Bitcoin City will commence construction. Volcano bonds will be oversubscribed. Huge surprise at Bitcoin conference. That's also a surprise. But the first two I don't think is far reach. I've said Bitcoin will hit 100,000 in 2022. So I'm not the only one to think so. Though when I posted this poll, a lot of people didn't think so. A lot of people are bearish. Again, I don't know why so many people are bearish at this point. 2 more countries will adopt a legal tender. I think it could be more than 2 countries. We're seeing so many Latin American countries and other countries around the world like Turkey that are just they can't really deal with their inflation issues, right? So they have to chop off some zeros, redo their whole economic policy, but whether or not it works, unknown at this point. But they're all looking at Bitcoin. They're all looking at something that is better than their situation right now. So 2 more countries, yeah, that's likely. But this major electoral issue in the U.S., that will be a big thing. I haven't heard about that. But hey, besides that, El Salvador, yes, they're building out Bitcoin City. They're selling volcanic mining bonds, which will be oversubscribed according to him, and who knows what comes out of Bitcoin conference. So pretty good list, pretty good prediction for 2022. What else? Well, of course, I like to remind you guys that the number of Bitcoins floating out there is actually very, very, very little. So sometimes I talk about OTC, sometimes I talk about all this massive buying going behind the scenes, and you could see it with the reserves dropping, and people don't believe it. They're like, George, if there's so much buying, right, why do we still have these fluctuations? Why does Bitcoin dip? And why is it not past 100,000, right? Well, first of all, whatever we're seeing now, this 47,000, right, that's based on the 6.2%. 6.2%. So 93.8% is off the exchanges held by individuals like you and I and institutions and miners and the whales, right? So it's measuring just a small, very small percent of what's out there. And there's a lot of trades between whales and institutions behind the scenes OTC market, and it doesn't affect the price that we see. But here's the thing, the amount on exchanges keeps dropping. It has been for quite some time. And the more it drops and the more it becomes scarce, right? Eventually it's going to have effect on Bitcoin. And when this amount on exchanges drops to a really, really, really low level, that's when it's pretty much too late to get into Bitcoin, right? So this is why I tell you guys to stay strong, stay in the game, because yes, Bitcoin is very scarce. And ultimately what drives the price up is scarcity. Price is affected or driven, I should say, by supply and demand. And demand is simply going higher. And supply is simply going lower, right? So there you go. I'd like to remind you guys, very, very, very little of Bitcoin is actually floating out there. And everyone is fighting for the same pieces right now, right? All right, now what else is there? And look at supply. This keeps going up. You can see that since May, right? That was when Bitcoin fell down to 30,000, and you could argue a lot of the miners sold because they had to be being pushed out of China. But since then, there has been no major liquid supply change, which means that more and more and more supply is becoming illiquid, which again correlates with this. More and more is being taken off the exchanges, not being traded, not being used, just simply held, and it keeps increasing, right? So this is going to have effect on Bitcoin's price in the future, and it does show that there's no one selling at this point. There's really no one selling at this point. Not in significant amounts, not like this back in May and June of 2021. Just a few other things. Also, all bullish stuff for Bitcoin. Goldman Sachs been defining, certain aspects to crypto, different buckets, you could say. So in terms of pure cryptocurrencies, there's only one listed, and that's Bitcoin. Digital currency, store, value, medium exchange. It's weird that they just say pure, in quotes, cryptocurrencies. And of course, you have utility tokens, stable coins, NFTs, and financial infrastructure. But even Goldman Sachs recognizes there is nothing competing with Bitcoin. Those of you guys are Litecoin fans, unfortunately, Goldman Sachs does not recognize Litecoin being a store of value because, Litecoin should be listed in there, but it's not because they don't care about it, right? There's three sure things when it comes to life. Number one, death. Number two, taxes. Number three, you're going to lose money with Litecoin. So that's why it's not listed. I want to show you this. Some of the dip durations that Bitcoin had over the last few years, and there's been many, right? So what does this mean? Yes, even during bull markets, there are a lot of corrections. Yes, there's a lot of corrections in crypto winter, right? There's corrections all over the place. When you zoom out, sometimes you just feel like, yeah, even during bull markets, everything's going up. No, that's not the case. We had many corrections, and Bitcoin gets through all of them. So it's just a matter of having patience. It's a patience game. And right now, we're going through one of them, about 52 days, right? So, are we going to get out of it? Yes. Yes, we are. You just have to have patience. It's a new year. It's a new start. And there's so many things I've told you guys about that are very, very positive for Bitcoin. All right, lastly, just this. Look at this headline. Millennial millionaires plan on making more cryptocurrency investments in 2022. At least 83% of millennial millionaires own cryptocurrencies. You know why? Because 83% of them became millionaires through cryptocurrencies, at least. So that's not a big surprise, okay? And I want to show you guys this because most of these millennials, all they had to do was buy and hodl. And that's it. Most of these, vast majority, if not all, did not try to day trade, did not try to swing trade. They simply bought and hodled. They believed in a project, or maybe they got lucky. And there's been so many projects that have gone up thousands to tens of thousands of percent over the last few years. And there's going to be many, 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 many more millionaires to be made through holding crypto, right? This is why I tell you guys to stay in the game, focus, have patience, and let the life-changing wealth come to you, because this is not over. There's going to be a lot more of this in 2022, 2023, 2024, and it's just go keep going. But you have to have patience, and most importantly, you have to be in the game, right? Otherwise, you're not going to gain anything. Just like lottery tickets, right? You may think that the lottery, well, I don't play the lottery that much, but in order to win a mega millions or Powerball jackpot, you got to at least have one ticket, right? You have to be in the game. Otherwise, sitting on the sidelines, you have zero chance to win. With one ticket, at least you have that 1 in 200 million chance, but at least you have a chance. So there you go. Kind of the same analogy, but pretty bad one. But anyways, let's go. End it with that. All right, lastly, before Q&A, I do have a new sponsor today, a promising new NFT app that's on Solana. And why not? Right? Solana is really beefing up their NFT ecosystem. Soul Art and many other marketplaces out there. Of course, everyone's competing against OpenSea right now. But there's many others like Artrade that is trying to revolutionize and get more adoption within the NFT space through their very first mobile application. Now, I've looked through this, and the best way to sum up what Artrade is Instagram with NFTs. Basically, it's Instagram, but every single picture on the platform is basically an NFT that's created or held by you. So you could create your own NFTs, and of course you could sell it, and they have social features listed within so that you can comment and you can rate and you can buy. So that's basically what it is. And if you think about it, that's not a bad thing. Right now with NFT marketplaces, almost all of them are desktop based, very little are mobile based, and the ones that have a mobile app just doesn't work as good. Artrade is being developed as a mobile application. So basically it has social integrated, it has NFTs integrated, right? And it has everything on top of Solana, which means that it's basically feeless, and you don't have to worry about congestion or anything like that, right? And they have a few other things that they're working on that makes it a little bit more interesting. For example, you could actually buy NFTs with fiat and crypto. Most other marketplaces are all crypto, but they're going to make it so, yeah, you could buy with fiat as well. They're going to integrate with, of course, other social networks like Instagram and Twitter. So it's very easy to publish what you have created and show it off on other social networks. They're going to have their own social network, right? Very low fees versus the others. And they're going to have their own integrated wallet. So unlike the other marketplaces, you have to use MetaMask or Phantom or some other kind of wallet to store. They're going to have their own integrated wallet. So there's a few things that's different about Artrade. It is still an early stage project, still being worked on, but it does look like it has a lot of promise. So if you want to learn more, check out the URL in the description of this video. All right, guys, that's pretty much it. Now let's do some Q&A. Oops. Henry says, you don't have to worry about congestion on Solana. Not right now, because it could scale up to 50,000 transactions per second. And there's been times where it has gone beyond that. And unfortunately, a little bit too much due to DDoS attack or hacks. But 50,000 transactions per second, which is a lot versus what say Ethereum can handle these days. Henry also asked about, what do you think it would take for Cadena to reach top 10 levels? It's going to take a robust ecosystem, right? Right now, that's what they're working on, them and their developers. But you need to have a lot of TVL. You need to have AMMs. You need to have KDA locked in, right? And you need to get a lot of people to come on board, not only with DEXs, but lending platforms, NFTs. You got to have robust wallets. And you got to get all these bridges so that you can get wrap KDA and KDA onto other chains. I mean, there's just a lot of things that they need to do. Updated thoughts on Phantasma. I'm sorry, I don't have any updated thoughts on Phantasma. Should start selling per Satoshi, not BTC. Well, that's interesting. You know what? OKCoin, I know that their exchange I covered before, they had that where you can buy based on sats and not BTC, right? And I think if you look at it that way, it would actually draw in more people. Because I think a lot of retail people coming in and like, Bitcoin's too high, I can't afford it, so I gotta buy something smaller, right? But imagine if everything listed in sats, then it just makes things more affordable, right? And it just looks a lot more affordable. So I don't think that's a bad idea. Let's see. Two brain cells. George has the right message. I appreciate that. Damon says, have patience. Take note room. You know, that's what I'm here to do. Give the right message, the right attitude, and help you guys learn from my mistakes. My biggest mistakes in my crypto career is not having enough patience. I mean, it really comes down to that. And when it comes to investing, it doesn't matter if it's crypto or stocks or anything. It's just really having patience, especially when you got winners. I've told you guys stories about like early on in 2000 and 2008 when I had some real winners with stocks and I was not patient, sold them off, and big mistake. Same thing with crypto in 2013, 14 when I got in. Didn't have patience and cost me a lot too, right? It's the same thing with 2017, 18, many times, right? Patience, you gotta have it. Isn't the life-changing wealth narrative is hurting adoption? It seems to attract a population that is making unreasonable bets and becoming unstable during difficult times. No, it's not hurting adoption. It's hurting people that are not patient. What's that quote? What's that quote from Warren Buffett? Investing is... Oh, I gotta look that up. It's basically a transfer of wealth from the impatient to the patient. So it never changes. Anyone that invests for the wrong reasons will get burned, right? But the thing is, will they learn from that and stay in the game? Those that did, I think they're still in the game and they have learned from their mistakes and made money. Those that didn't, they're out and they'll claim that crypto is a scam or investing is a scam or whatever. So no, I don't believe so because that's always been the case. Always been the case. And you don't want everyone. I mean, honestly, if you think about it, right? If everyone was like that, then you can take advantage of the dips or anything. So you got to think about it that way too. Tom asked about Tron. I like Tron a lot better now that Justin has stepped down. But it really depends on if they get a new leader, one that could really, really lead them and form, form a good plan for all the projects that they have under their umbrella. So what are they going to do with BitTorrent? What does that have to do with VDT? What does that have to do with Sun Network? And what does that have to do with all the other stuff that they have? Are they going to be integrated? Are they going to be separate projects? You know, I don't know. Flux just broke its all-time high. I got Luna vibes from it. Well, I like Flux. I like Flux a lot. And they've been doing very well recently. Well, today, really good. I don't know why today, but they've been around the block for a while. They're a more decentralized computing platform, so they do compete with several others in the space. But I really like what they're doing with CADX and Cadena. So, but yeah, they have promise. They have promise. But they're not really a L1 though. They're a computing platform. So they're like a decentralized host. So, but they did make some upgrades recently to make their costs a lot less. Let's see. Thoughts on Sandbox? Sandbox, I think, does look good. Yesterday, I was on OpenSea looking at random land for sale. I mean, just a little tiny little block of Sandbox. It's like tens of thousands. I saw one next to Snoop Dogg's like mansion being sold for like $7 million now. I don't know. I think people are just putting the same prices, but virtual land ownership is interesting. You know, especially if Sandbox and Decentraland, they continue to be the dominant metaverses, you know, the land values just keep going up and up and up and up. So it's actually pretty promising. Power crazy move today. Any comment? No. I have no idea why. Let's see. What else did I miss here? Any thoughts on Only One? I know it's something to stake like you within it. Yeah, it's a project that I partnered up with before, but I have not heard anything about that project. I don't know what's going on. I couldn't access anything, so I've kind of like just given up on them. So I don't know what's going on with them. Do you think Phantom could replace or displace one of the higher number similar? I think what you're asking is, can it climb the ranks? Yes. Yes, it can. Yes, it can. Let's see. Last few. DeFi Kingdom just crossed 1 billion market cap. That is very good for DeFi Kingdoms and very good for Harmony, which is why Harmony has been going up recently. I've been holding since 2013, so I know patience is key. I just see people hoping to become millionaire in weeks when it likely takes 3 years. Now, here's the other thing. If people thought they couldn't make money really fast, then very little of them will come into this space. So that's also a good thing. Again, your basic wealth is being transferred from the impatient to the patient. That's how it is with anything, right? So as long as you know to have patience, then you're go win from that situation. Let's see. I think people are sleeping on BNB. The use cases BNB is highest of any coin. Price will catch up. They're not really sleeping on it. Okay, I know what you're saying. No one really talks about BNB. I was one of the only ones that talked about BNB back in the day and even now. But let's not forget, it is sitting at number 3. Okay, it's sitting at number 3. So obviously a lot of people hold it. But I do agree with you. Binance put a lot of use cases with Binance Coin. And they're implementing a new coin burn mechanism which will start burning BNB a lot quicker and faster. So that's going to help. And Binance Smart Chain is still a growing chain. So can't ignore that. XHV, never heard of it. So I'm sorry. Q&A, if you're still lost on a good project like VeChain, do you sell and buy back again in a bear market? You never know. You never know. A lot of people do want to like time the market and they think, okay, if it's going to go down lower, I'm going to sell down and buy back. I'll say this. It's very hard to time the market. And many people that have tried ended up buying back at a loss or buying back at a higher price. So I wouldn't specifically recommend it. I think the better thing to do is basically to have cash on the side and have a good amount of cash on the side. So when things go lower, you could DCA, you could buy the dip rather than try to time the market. It's just really, really hard to do. So there you go. There you go. All right. What exchange do you use? It's just a number. I have a number within the US and outside the US. Like KuCoin is a great one. Binance.us. You know, beginners, you got to go with Coinbase or Gemini. I mean, there's just a lot out there. All right. I think that's pretty much it. ENS. It's all airdrop tokens, so there's really no, I don't really have any thoughts on it. Other than, you know, Ethereum-based domain names, cool. Just like Unstoppable Domains, they have their top-level domains, many different domain extensions. It's cool. It's cool if you want to use it. All right. Thanks for tuning in. Smash a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys tonight, 11:30 a.m. No, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. All right? Have a good one, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.